Welcome to NerdCage Fight Critiques.
Fight!
This is where the NerdCage crew and an expert martial artist break down various fights across cinema. So, time to gear up! Take it away, gents!
Finish him!
That's right. This is Volume 1 of NerdCage Fight Critiques. What a show we got for you. We have 4 fight scenes to break down, but before we get to that, Mark Withers, please introduce our champion who's going to chop up these fights with us.
What's going on, everybody? Super excited to be here as usual. And yes, tonight we are honored to have with us the lead instructor and founder of EKF Martial Arts in Chicago, but you might know him a little bit better as the original Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. Ladies and gentlemen, Master Anthony Marquez. How are you tonight, sir?
It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. I'm super excited to be doing this, so let's get to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us. Before we get started, though, please, for our audience, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Anthony Marquez. I've been doing martial arts since I was 4 years old. I saw Bruce Lee in Chinese Connection or Fist of Fury, depending on where you saw it and how it was titled. And I was in love with martial arts ever since. I've trained here in the United States, in China, in the Philippines, in Thailand. I'm just a big martial arts fanatic. And I grew up with a bunch of people who were also martial arts fanatics who were lucky enough to do Mortal Kombat. Us as friends, we trained together. We competed against each other. We competed nationally in various national competitions. We did the Ninja Turtle movies together, and we did Mortal Kombat together. And I was lucky enough to be the original Kung Lao.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. You have a book out too, right?
Yes. So, Kung Fu Rockstar. You can pick that up on Amazon. But yeah, it just chronicles, if you're a big Mortal Kombat fan, if you're a big martial arts fan, or if you're just looking for, hopefully something interesting to read. It chronicles our lives, me, Danny, who is Johnny Cage, Ho Sung, who is Liu Kang, Rich and Carlos, who are Kano and Raiden. We all grew up together. We all love martial arts, and it just kind of covers that aspect of our lives and just how we've always wanted to do things, and how no matter what the barriers happen to be, you find a way to get through those barriers in order to do what you want to do. So that's what the book's about.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of your book. After I was done reading, I wanted to run right through a damn wall. So yes, please pick that book up. And real quick, before we get started, also, Kung Lao and the Scorpions.
Yeah, so that's our rock band. Kung Lao has to be doing something in between the tournaments. The tournaments happen just every so often. So got to fill up time. And Kung Lao's a huge Michael Jackson, Bon Jovi, Elvis Presley fan. So why not be a rock star? So yeah, so Pick Up Believe. That's also on, you could listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your music from. And it's just one of those things that, I want to do martial arts. Yeah, figure out a way to get to China and learn martial arts. I want to be a rock star. Figure it out. Figure out how you're going to be a rock star. Oh, you know what? It'll be cool to be an author. So I'm going to write a book, you see. Figure out how to get these things done. So many people, wish and wish and wish and wish and wish, but they don't. There's always something that holds them back. When you realize that most of the time, it's your own fears, it's your own hesitations that are holding you back. Once you figure that out, you're able to move forward and know that, yeah, I'm going to suck for a little while, but I'll keep plugging at it, and I'll just get better and better and better. That's who I am. That's what I do. And so that's why we're here.
That's absolutely wonderful. So the scenes we have today that you're going to break down for us, we have fight scenes from Captain America in The Winter Soldier, Supercop, Highlander Endgame, and of course, it's only appropriate we take a look at some of Kung Lao's scenes in the new 2021 Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we'll start off with the Captain America one. So real quick, Master Marquez, why did you pick the highway scene from Captain America Winter Soldier as the fight for today?
Okay, so for me, it's very much, I'm a big, superhero fan. I'm a big, especially Marvel Cinematic Universe fan. I'm a big action movie fan, and I'm a big martial arts movie fan. And for this particular scene, it really came together where the choreography is world class, the cinematography is world class, and we're already past the point, we're already, I don't know, half a dozen movies into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've seen the Shatari come through the wormhole. We've seen, Thor break open a rainbow bridge with his hammer. We've seen, the Hulk punching the Leviathan out of the air. Everything. But this one scene especially, the hand-to-hand combat, the fight scene, it's just like, wow, we've already seen everything like blowing up. But this one fight scene really said, look out. Captain America is really a great hand-to-hand combatant.
Yes, we're going to take a look at it right now.
I love this. And so that was like two different cuts right there. You saw, it looked like he was doing a jumping roundhouse, but when you look at it again, you can see that the kick was actually just a standing roundhouse kick. So this, right, those two clips together. You saw that it looked like he was starting a jump roundhouse, but actually when they filmed it, you could see that it was a roundhouse kick that he was throwing.
Yeah, like his other foot was planted.
Yeah. This, I think everybody on the planet loves the knife flip, and we've all watched Sebastian Stan just practicing that over and over and over again. Nice Justin back kick. And this is the thing that always bothered me. If you could go back to that jumping
the car?
knee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he has this full martial arts on display. He's doing kickboxing, sanda, and right there, some sanda or some judo, depending on how you're looking at that. He does the jump spin back kick. Great stuff there. Jump spin back kick. And then here, like, everything is spot on, but it always bothered me that, like, if he's actually showing his, like really good Muay Thai, on that jumping knee, his hip should be pushed more forward. You can see that his hip is kind of pulled back. Like really high level Muay Thai would have the hip push a lot more forward. And that was Chris Evans doing a kick right there, so that was awesome.
Nice.
But it was there. That one punch that Winter Soldier landed on Cap. I remember sitting in the... Ooh! So we've already seen, everything. We've seen the Hulk take a, hammer to the face. We've seen everything. Iron Man, Iron Man and War Machine blasting Whiplash. We've seen all of that stuff. But that one punch that Bucky landed on Cap, I remember sitting in the theater thinking, and you could hear it go, wow, it sounded like Cap really got hit hard.
Master Marquez, if you're giving this fight a rating 1 through 10, what would you give a rating?
Overall, a definite 9. A definite 9. So especially, it was filmed really well. It's a great action piece, and it's inside a superhero movie. It's inside the superhero universe, and if you're a big Captain America fan, this is what, when you're reading, if you're a little kid reading comics, you're thinking, oh my God, how cool would it be to see this on the screen? This is even better than what you could have imagined, especially if you grew up watching the Red Brown, Captain America, the 2 TV movies or whatever. It's like, oh my God. And you thought that was good. When you're a little bit older and you see this, like, oh my God, this stuff is incredible. They really nailed the hand-to-hand combat style that you would imagine Captain America to have. It was on full display right there.
Our next fight is going to star Michelle Yeoh. Now, this is the very first time that I'd ever seen Michelle Yeoh in a fight scene, and it really sold me on her. This is from Supercop.
Especially at the time period. The Hong Kong choreography was light years above, anything else that was coming out of the world, especially in the United States at this time. Like Mark was saying, Michelle Yeoh is incredible. And she's not even a martial artist per se or whatever. She, her background is in dance. She's in the Hong Kong film industry, and so she's just learning the ropes as she goes, and she is as badass as they come. If we could take a look at that fight again. So I believe that is Michelle Yeoh doing that split kick right there. And yeah, she just brings an intensity about her. Her movements are great. I love that. Here's, he's doing some Southern fist. She's going to do some Northern style, but Jackie Chan steps in. I love that there's no guns here. It's, they're using tasers and chopsticks. Amazing.
So what would you rate that fight?
So that fight, I would rate an 8, to tell you the truth. I believe that I believe that her doing that split kick on there, and I'm going to point this out a couple of times. There's another point in there where she does a back kick on somebody. So that looks good, but it looked a little awkward, to tell you the truth. The flexibility was great, but the angle was a little awkward. And here, her hip, okay, so it would land as a spinning back kick or whatever, but the hips were a little over rotated, and that takes a little bit of the power away from the back kick. So if she's actually fighting, yeah, she'd probably blast the guy against the cage or whatever, but it probably wouldn't have stopped him. As we watch in our next clip, if we're watching Donnie Yen, I'm going to point out hip placement on him. But Michelle Yeoh, you can't take anything away from her, especially during this time period. I believe it was maybe the late 80s or something like that. This is light years beyond anything that's coming out anywhere else in the world. But there's those two things that kind of stick out to me that kind of brings it down to an 8.
Oh, that's very fair, and again, this is awesome and fascinating that you're able to see things that I can't see, and this is why I'm loving this. So our next fight that Master Marquez is going to critique is from Highlander 4 Endgame from 2000. The scene that I picked is Adrian Paul, who is a Hungar expert as well as a dancer and a swordsman, and he's going up against a very young, up-and-coming Donnie Yen. Say what you want about the movie, but this fight scene is a rare instance in history, and we gotta do it for you guys.
And I knew that he was a swordsman, but I did not know that he was also a kung fu guy. This is awesome. I'm excited doing this show, learning stuff while we're doing this show.
Absolutely.
And you say that Adrian Paul's a dancer.
Yeah.
Don't discount Donnie Yen. He could break dance, obviously hip hop. I wouldn't doubt if he could, do more formal dances too, like ballroom and stuff like that. This guy is just out of this world great.
Yes, he is. And again, this is a young Donnie Yen.
Yes. Yeah, so Donnie Yen has this beautiful movement. His wushu is on point, but you could tell that he doesn't move a wushu person like Jet Li or Wu Jing or somebody like that. And then sometimes he'll get to a point where his chin is slightly higher, kind of like Bruce Lee. Okay, I want to point a couple of things out here. Like this particular pose right there. So that's not really, that was really brought into to play by Jet Li doing Wong Fei Hong. So they always have those arms outstretched, whether it's one hand when he's not, when he doesn't have to really do too much, or it's like two hands outstretched. That's what, the fight is on. That's something that was very popular at that point. And, like you said, I guess at this point he's a young Donnie Yen. He did Iron Monkey. I think he, did Once Upon a Time in China 2 before that. But yeah, nobody's really seen too much of Donnie Yen at this point. And that motion there was very much something from Wong Fei Hong. and that became really popular around that time period. When you watch like his kicks, especially, like he does a jump kick in there somewhere a little bit.
Yeah, I know exactly where.
There, and so you could see his hips turn back. He's getting extension through there. He's squeezing the glute. That's his hip placement. Oh, and then that hook kick is beautiful too, because he's not just a wushu martial artist, and he spent time in Beijing and is training in wushu, and his mom both and Mark, a high-level wushu master here in the United States. But he's also well-versed in Taekwondo. He's well-versed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And so it has a good Chinese flavor to him, but he spent so much time in America, he also moved kind of like a Western fighter also. But when you're looking at like his hip placement on that kick, that was beautiful. His hook kick was beautiful. His work with the pudao is spot on. I am nothing but a fan of Donnie Yen. Big thumbs up over here.
Excellent.
So, Master Marquez, how would you rate this fight?
I would give that a 9 also. At the time period, especially, it's done. I would imagine that Donnie Yen did the choreography on there. He probably helped with the cinematography also. Adrian Paul, he's also from this time period. I would believe it's the early 90s. So he's great, and everything is just great about it. The elements like, the poses and everything like that, I would give that a 9. I would give that a 9.
All right, so our final fight that Master Marquez is going to critique, he's actually be critiquing Max Huang, who's pretending to be him as Kung Lao in Mortal Kombat 2021. I mean, it's only appropriate that we did this fight.
You couldn't ask for a better introduction to a character. That was beautiful. And I want to point that out right there, where he lands. Like Max specializes in Southern Chinese martial arts, and that landing with his arms outstretched there, that's very much a Southern fist movement. And so that's one of the differences between him and I. I specialize more in Northern or long fist style of Chinese martial arts, and he specializes more in Southern fist. So that's one of the differences, but it's all Chinese martial arts, so it's all beautiful. I like the chain punch there. I'm not exactly sure how Cole was able to take down Kung Lao. I'm not buying that one at all, because we just watched him fight. Right there. So that motion where it looked like he's kind of rolling, and his hand hits the ground, and his hand hits the ground, and it looks like his body's rolling over. That's something that also Max brings to the table. That type of movement, I think it's originally from like a capoeira type movement, and you wouldn't see that type of movement really 20, 30 years ago, or at least, so prevalent. Now everybody does it, and even in wushu forms in China, you'll see that. But back in the day, nobody would do that, and so that's one of those things that just kind of moves the ball forward. This is his interpretation of Kung Lao. I think his movements are great. You could see his spin back kick was good also on that one. He does, I think it's jumping inside crescent kick into spin back kick. I thought all of that was great. His hip placement was great. I don't think too though that like when he goes down into half horse stance and he swiped across the hat, that typically means that, oh, shit's getting real. And at this point, he doesn't need to get all that real with Cole. We've seen Cole fight in a cage early in the movie. At this point, he hasn't reached his potential. Kung Lao doesn't need to go to, shit hits the fan mode for this one.
Finally, to top it all off, the fatality. So here we go.
Uh-oh, what's gonna happen?
Flawless.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I just want to point out one of my favorite fatalities of all time is in Mortal Kombat 2, where you slice them right down the middle, and I'm so glad in some kind of weird way they threw that
Yes.
in. A little different, but still to slice down the middle and put a big smile on my face. I'm like, yeah. But I gotta ask you though, that's such a brutal kill. What kind of Shaolin monk are you?
You know, the Rockstar kind of Shaolin monk. And if you're a Rockstar, that's how you're going to deal with people. That's what you do.
Oh, I dig it.
But I love it too, that you don't even think about this stuff, but you're whipping a hat around, the hat's on, the hat's off. In real motion, you do have to make this chin strap adjustment, and I'm glad that he also does that because you're doing whatever, you throw the hat back on, but you do have to make this chin strap adjustment. And this also, the swipe across the blade, it's one of those, cleaning the blade off, but it is also, you do have to kind of get the hat tilt right. And so you kind of play with this to get, oh yeah, I'm cleaning off the blade, but yeah, it is really about kind of getting the hat tilt right.
Okay, so we want 2 ratings from you. What would you rate the fight, and what would you rate the fatality?
I would rate that fight, I'm going to go 7.75. Nothing that Max did was, I think he's great. I'm not talking bad about him. I thought they could have filmed it a little bit better. I thought they could have brought a little bit more excitement with the fight. The movements themselves are great, but there's, certain angles that they could have changed in order to create more excitement in the fight. The fatality was straight out of the video game. I would give that fatality a 9.5. That was beautiful. And yeah, so fatality 9.5, the fight itself 7.75.
Excellent. This was hella fun, man. Mark, man, we gotta do more
like this. Absolutely.
Yes, and I find it, it's fun to hang out with you guys. I didn't know that Adrian Paul was a kung fu guy. I'm glad I jumped on here. And whoever's watching this stuff, hopefully they learn something too. That's one of these things. It's like you hang out here, you watch this stuff. You might learn something, and you always have a good time. I always have a good time. That's why I'm here.
Excellent. Mr. Marquez, before we wrap this up, is there do you have any messages or anything you have for the fans? So let them know anything.
You know what? Just be cool. Don't do drugs. And have a good time. Take care of yourself and chase your passions. Have passion in life. And that's always going to keep you youthful because you're always excited. You're always trying to learn something new. Today, even, I didn't know about Adrian Paul. Now I need to go back and watch some Highlander, think, wow, that cat's pretty cool. I'm digging that guy.
So to the NerdCage Nation and the people in the audience in the comments section, what do you think of these 4 fights? What fight scenes do you want us to critique? Who do you want us to bring in? We would love to know. I'm open to suggestions. I'm sure we'd love to have Master Marquez back to do more fight critiques. So if you guys have any suggestions for Master Marquez to critique more fights, please let us know in the comment section or let us know in the NerdCage Live Facebook discussion group. Mark and I and Master Marquez, we would love to know.
This was an absolute blast. Again, Master Marquez, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your point of view on these great fight scenes. We really enjoy hearing from you on this.
It was my pleasure, and all of these cats, whether it's 8711, who's working on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whether it's Donnie Yen, Adrian Paul, it doesn't matter who we're watching. These Michelle Yeoh, I love them all. They're all great. Yeah. Everybody, what can you say? They're great. And, we look at them and we try to draw inspiration from them. And yeah, it's all great.
Absolutely.
So before we go, we please ask you to pick up Kung Fu Rockstar, link in the description below, available on Amazon. And of course, please check out Kung Lao and the Scorpions wherever you find music. So we ask you to please like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and spread that shit like Silver. So USA, from Chicago, Illinois, to Louisville, Kentucky, Syracuse, New York, to all of our friends and fans around the world at NerdCage Live, and of course at the EKF Martial Arts School with Master Marquez. Please As always, enjoy life, stay safe, and good night.
Sayonara.
Ooh, trying to get out of the NerdCage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage